guys, here we go with Kingdoms of West Africa. We are going to do our darndest to get through this today. So our objective is going to be building an understanding of the great West African royal kingdoms of Ghana, Mali, and Songhai. We're going to read some short articles on the history of each kingdom. We're going to respond to some text-dependent questions. That's what TDQ stands for. You are going to use sentence stems to respond to those TDQs using content-specific language, and there is a very quick mastery check at the end. Our essential question for today is, how do we know what we know about early African kingdoms and city-states? There's going to be some participation on the Pear Deck. You are finishing this Google document and turning it in and taking that mastery check in Edulastic. Our three vocabulary words for the day are oral history, cultural diffusion, and kingdom. The first one, oral history, means the collection and study of historical information using sound recordings of interviews with people having personal knowledge of past events. This is just a really fancy way to say we remember our history because we tell it to other people, versus like a written history where we remember our history because we wrote it down and we read it. Early and medieval African societies preserved their histories through written and oral literature. In West Africa, where we are studying, griots, a highly honored professional storyteller, recited ancient stories that would be passed on from generation to generation. Again, like West African tradition is generally oral tradition only. Cultural diffusion is the idea of spreading of cultural beliefs and social activities from one group of people to another. So for example, cultural diffusion, most people in the United States, Australia, and even Jamaica speak English, a language that originated in the United Kingdom because British colonists and merchants spread the language to those territories. Similarly, cultural diffusion of French or Portuguese or Italian happens within Africa because of cultural diffusion. And then last but not least, a kingdom is a country, state, or territory that is ruled by a king or a queen. By at least 800 CE, a handful of kingdoms and empires were forming in Africa, 3 of which were located in West Africa, relatively close to each other. All right, our do now for today, we are going to read this quote by Ayaquibbe, a 10th century geographer. So he was going around the region mapping West Africa. And he says, "There's a kingdom of Ghana. The king is mighty, and in his lands are gold mines. Under his authority are various other kingdoms, and in all of this region there is gold." So this quote, what does it reveal about the political structure that he sees and writes about in his account? So what do we know about like how their government is organized? So a little star here. Boop, boop. Based on the above quote, we know the political structure is this. This is revealed because. So I want you to focus your attention on the double stars. Next, I want you to talk about what is revealed about the economic structure that we see in Ghana based on what he is seeing. So how do they make their money? Number 3 is asking the values in societies. Value in society. So what do they find is most important? Like what do we know about it? And again, we're focusing our attention there. And then last but not least, how does this quote connect to our examination of the question of who has power and why? So who has power here? How do we know he has power? Like what about it tells us that? And then you're answering that question. On the Pear Deck, I want you to summarize what you know of Ghana from this quote. So if you knew only one thing about Ghana, I want you to put that in the Pear Deck. Come back here for the next video.